Here we are, shielding, a very, very important technique. We're going to come back to this in multiple classes, but this will, I'd say, be the most important class when it comes to shielding, as this will be the foundation of your shield. If you just do this class and none of the other future ones for shielding, you will end up with a pretty good shield regardless. We're going to use the techniques taught in class 3, Primordial Hand and Primordial Skin. If you have not watched that class, go and watch it. If you don't want to watch that and you just want shielding, I made a video a few years ago on shielding. Just go and watch that. I'll put a link in the description. So hopefully, if you're still watching, you've either gone and learned Primordial Skin in Hand. Now, you don't have to be very good at Primordial Skin in Hand, but we are going to use that for the shielding technique, as it will allow you to create a shield in a much shorter duration, as if you do it without this, you will use your energetic pathways, the way I teach it the first time, where it comes out of your hand, and that works well, but you'll only be able to work on it for about 5 to 10 minutes, especially when starting, until your hands hurt and you're out of energy. This way, you'll be able to work on it for a lot longer and get quite a lot done, usually in a much shorter duration, especially when you're first starting. So, to start with, we're going to put up a Primordial Skin. If you are still at the stage where you need to go through and cream your entire body, and also if it's been like a year and you're still at that stage, that's perfectly fine. So long as you're making progress and that's working, you don't need to change. Anyway, I will go through it with you to make sure that I'm giving you enough time to do that. So you will picture in the middle of your sternum primordial energy, and you're going to create the sensation of it being a cream, and then you will take it and you will move it through your body. Now, depending on how good you are, you don't need to, this goes especially for sage. If you're saging your house, you do not need to light sage and then go to every single corner in your house. You don't need to go under the bed. If you have decent visualization abilities and decent ability to move energy, and you may think, well, I have good visualization skills. How do I know that I'm good at moving energy? If you stand in the room and you see the sage and then you picture its energy in your mind going into the corners and it doesn't just not go there, then you have pretty good energy controllability. So you can stand there and have the sage go into the corner. So you can take the cream and you can say, I've just done my left arm, but I'll do it again, right? You go here and you're like, I intend for this to just cover the underside as well as I'm doing this, and it will. And then use your left hand and go down the other side. Now, you may find it very hard using the non-dominant arm. That's perfectly normal when you first start. As you get better, your left arm, both physically and energetically, will become easy to use. That is, if you're right-handed. If you're left-handed, it will be the other way around. If you aren't good at applying energy with your non-dominant hand, then you will need to, let's say, right hand, and then just picture it, come down. You'll do this more with mental control, and if you're not visualizing, then you can, using sensation, have it go down your arm as well, right? So you've got an entire primordial skin up, and you're going to set the intention for this. I'll just give you a moment to do your legs as well. You're like, he's going too fast. All right, we'll do your legs, and you can also use your other hand to shape it as well. Using two hands will often help more with shaping energy, even if you've just got the cream on one. So you go cream here, you've got to use it. It's not going to work well using an arm. All right, let's go leg, and then put both arms on your leg and move it like that. And you've got the primordial energy in one hand, and then you are using the other hand to help mold the energy. That can be quite helpful for shaping energy. Good, you've put one layer of primordial energy up. This will be for recharging your overall energy levels, right? Now we're going to put another layer up. So I will just give you, say, 10 seconds. No, you feel free to pause the video and take as long as you want. And then once you're done, unpause it. All right, good, congratulations. You've got two layers up, all right? One layer for recharging your energy, and the second layer is going to be for powering the shield that you're going to create. Now, depending on where you are energetically, you will either see the energy literally for what it is, or you will see it all closer to literally of what it is, or you will just see it energetic. I recommend using symbology that will be easier to connect to what's actually going on energetically. So if you create a shield that's a square cube out of brick walls, it's not really what's going on an energy level. You're much better off if you just picture a solid color, usually gold, or make it out of a crystalline type sphere. that is more accurately what you're creating energetically than something made out of brick or stone or any other solid shape. So we're going to, for now, just use a golden fiery color, right? You're going to picture that, it's a color energy. You're going to picture that in your mind. So there are two ways to do this. Either, and they both will lead to the same conclusion, so you don't need to worry. Either you will picture yourself in the third person in your mind, and you will begin to give the intention for this primordial skin. You can also picture it and have it come off and begin to create the shield that way, or you can have the intention that you're using that energy and you will begin to picture a golden fiery energy above you in a sphere. Now, don't, for example, I'm going here, but that's only so you can see me. You're really going usually about 2 meters up, 2.5 to get the top of your energy field, because when things come in, right, when negative energy comes in, it comes into your energy field. So if your shield is covering here, you know, it's not covering a large area, then it will come in and then hit your shield, and then you'll just have stagnant negative energy outside of your shield, which will just be biding its time, which is an issue. So 2.5 meters up, your intuition will intuitively do this. Even if you were to create a shield that's just a suit of armor on your head, but you're making the intention that you want to shield your energy field, and that is the intention we're setting. We are shielding our entire energy field for now. Then that suit of armor will just, your energy will do the work, your soul will do the work, and it will go, all right, he wants a suit of armor, so let's start shielding his energy field. So you can picture yourself in third person and begin to have, you don't want to rush this as well. You don't want to create a weak shield. The longer you take, the more energy density you're building, which is very important. So you're just going to have that begin to spread around. The other way is to do this through feeling. So you've got your primordial skin, and then you're going to feel primordial energy come off and begin to pool and create a dense layer of energy. And then as you go, you will just have that spread around you. So we'll go through that entirely now. I will go through the entire process with you. So I'm just going to limit my energy to what I would say someone who's doing this with about 2 to 3 weeks of training would be at. That way it's more accurate. Good. I'm immediately feeling a heaviness. That's good. That's a good sensation. What's going on there is you're essentially separating yourself from the outside world, and this outside world that we're in, even if you're in somewhere on a local area that's quite positive, the overall world, it's not very positive. So as you are separating yourself to an extent from it, you will begin to feel heavier as your energy and your physical body are adjusting to a higher frequency without the stimulus of the external world. So go ahead and just keep stretching it now. As you go through, you may feel, I'm feeling this now, so I'm going through and it's stretching over here. Everywhere's going well, except there's a hole over here that it's not wanting to fill in. Now this is usually, can be programs, it can be subconscious trauma. A lot of it comes down to not feeling safe, and if you're a targeted individual, it makes sense you wouldn't feel safe. But even if you're not in a safe situation, you need to believe, especially on a subconscious level, which is much harder than believing on a conscious level, that this will work. Because if you believe it won't work and it's fruitless, then it won't work. And even if you make a great shield and it gets damaged, you still have to believe it's going to work, because if you believe it won't work, unless you're really strong, the belief in it not working will affect the quality of it, and it will make it more easily break, essentially. Anyway, we don't need to worry about breaking for now. So if you've got that, you just need to say in your head, this will work, this will work, this will work. Hey, they're going to be loud now. As I'm clearing that subconscious trauma, a lot of this is because I've set myself back to 3 weeks. So it's like, my energy's giving me good examples to clear for people. Usually when I'm shielding, this doesn't happen. I'm pretty good at shielding at this point. Anyway, so you will just say, this will work, this will work, this will work. A lot of this is, if you've ever seen or heard of any black magic people practicing hypnotism, they often just repeat the same thing over and over and over. And often people who are in a demonic trance, if they send you an email or they're talking to you, they will repeat the same thing twice, and they won't have copy pasted. They will have just rewritten it because it's much more likely to embed in your subconscious. If it's repeated, it's just a very common tactic. You may have physical purging while this happens, tears coming out of your eyes, etc. That is all part of the process and really nothing I would be concerned with. You may feel like muscle trembles through your body. That's usually where the programs or subconscious trauma energy is. So right now we are just essentially covering that with a program that you're programming your own subconscious essentially with something very, very simple and positive that this will work. And there we go. The bit that wasn't working is now fully closed, or nearly fully closed. It's almost there. Now, when you're doing this, it may just be really smooth, and that's terrific. We'll go through at the end and we'll thoroughly check it. But right now, as I'm seeing, there is looks like a pretty generic negative entity that it's veiled itself in just black, which is a very, very common negative entity tactic. So right now I will make you can either make a third primordial hand, or you can, no, I'm feeling at 3 weeks I'm not going to be able to do this. All right, I'm going, not third primordial hand, third primordial skin. We've not made any primordial hands yet, right? So I'm going to make a third primordial skin. You can pause the video if you need to do this. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to use it to power a primordial hand. And there it is. And then I'm going to get it a bit stronger, so I know I'll be able to get rid of this negative entity very easily. And then I will take it over to the negative entity. And so there's this, to explain it to you, there's this big blotch area, there's a few tentacles coming off it. I've grabbed the entire thing in the hand. And I'm giving it the intention to both contain and erase any negative energy. And there it is. And the negative entity looks like a really low level vampire entity. And it's cleared. And then, good. There is now no black energy and no hole in the shield. As I was doing that, I also had the primordial skin still strengthening the shield as it was going. So it's up to about here on me, enveloping almost to my shoulders. Yes, this process, especially when you're first doing it, can take a while. That's because your primordial energy, it's not just going to give you a 2-minute shield. That's not very worthwhile. It will, on a energy level, know to give you something pretty good, which is why even if you try and speed it up, it may be like, all right, I'm going to speed this up, let's stretch it, and it'll go, and it will go, no, we're not doing that. That's completely normal. Your energy does have its own consciousness, and if you are doing something which is not going to benefit you, then it will just go, no, and not listen to you. That is not that common, but it does happen if you're trying to rush things. While this is happening, I can feel a black staticky energy that would come up in somebody who's just starting. That's perfectly normal. This is negative. This is a negative emotion. Negative entities are trying to make you feel both annoyance, boredom, and a small amount of fear. And by doing this, if they can get you to stop now and you're like, I'll come back later, then that energy they've built up will usually have got running a bit more and will be more of an obstacle if you stop and come back to it. And then when you do it the next time, the feelings will be stronger, you'll take a break even quicker, and then it builds and builds, etc. So you're much better off just ignore that and keep going on it. We will go through with a primordial hand at the end, but right now, don't lose your, I'd say, focus and keep building the shield. Mine is up to about almost to my hips. You may feel quite a lot of tingling throughout your body, a bit of lightness, a feeling of, I'd say it's almost like chalk coming off your body. That's a common symptom when negative energy is clearing, particularly from your skin. That's because the primordial skin that you have up to energetically recharge you is putting you in a higher energetic frequency. You can do this with your eyes open or your eyes shut. It just depends on your visualization skills. For me, I used to always do energy work with my eyes open. And when I started doing this professionally, I started doing it with my eyes shut when working on others, because otherwise I'm, looking at them for an hour. And if they're not very chatty, then it's just easier to close your eyes. But in general, it is very useful to get to the point where you can do it with your eyes open, because then you can do pretty much anything else while doing energy work. Whereas if you have to focus and have your eyes shut, it's going to take a lot longer. It's also usually easier once you've gotten used to it with your eyes open, because rather than focusing that you're going to move your hand, you just move it, and without trying to deep focus, this is often much easier. If you've already successfully completed your shield, set the energy intention to go from creating a shield to just strengthening its durability, and have that continue to work. Good, my shield is almost fully complete, but I'm seeing at the very bottom, and this is common, they'll often put things where you're not going to look, and that is often right underneath you, or often lower back, areas which you're less likely to look at energetically. So right at the bottom, I see a black whirlpool, and this is a energy draining, I'd say, construct's not the right word. This is to do with the subconscious trauma. Okay, so with this, I've got my primordial hand, and this whole time I've just had the third primordial skin, which just popped. Great. All right, so I'll put it back up and reattach this primordial skin. Now that the hand, it doesn't usually pop. It's pretty good. It's usually much denser and much easier to keep going, and also because it's not on you and you're not moving around, it's not on you. So if you're moving around, it's a lot less likely to pop. I will now reconnect this new third primordial skin to the hand. Good, and then I'll take the hand and find the whirlpool. What I'm doing is I'm taking the hand, I'm having it manifest primordial energy both above and below the whirlpool, and then completely cover it. And then now wherever this subconscious trauma is, it doesn't matter, because where it's manifested is being cleared, and it will clear from the subconscious area that it is. That's fully cleared, and now the shield is complete. Good. Now you've got the foundation for a shield. One thing that I find very useful is to now go through and check, because even though the shield looks like it's fully intact, and it feels like it's fully intact, you can either have a veil over your eyes, or there can be something veiled in your energy field that looks like a part of a shield. It's deliberately set up. Essentially, you can consider it an overlay, or it's painted what looks like a shield. If you have good visualization skills and you zoom in, usually it'll be a bit warped, or the color will be desaturated. It's not usually fully, I'd say, accurate, but you're not usually going to go through your shield, which often, especially when you're first starting, looks very big to you. So if you zoom out, there we are. I can see like a splotch of blue here. My shield's not made of blue. You can see a splotch of red here. Over here I can see black and yellow police tape, which is a common blue reptilian tactic to act like they're the energy police, which I guess you could consider them they are, but they're enforcing their own evil law. Anyway, so we're going to take the primordial hand, and you don't really need to worry if you're clearing one area. The other areas, unless you outright say, I know they're, the different areas, they're not going to react, even if you've cleared 8 areas out of 11. The other 3 aren't going to suddenly realize you're going to clear them. So I'll go to the blue area, fully clear that. That's connected to a negative chord, which is deliberately their person's negative entities have set up the intention to make sure that you aren't shielded, so the chord's coming through the shield. That's fairly normal. So now I will go into my chord realm. A lot of this is your intuition will guide you. You will just have an innate knowing, so just follow it along. So there's my chord realm. There's this blue chord, and it's right on my heart. So then I just take this off, and I will just reiterate, this is me setting myself to like a regular person who's been training for 3 weeks. This is not me now. I'm pretty good at chords. Anyway, so there's the chord. Just going to my primordial hands. Wait, what? Come on. Just don't hit the microphone and you'll be fine. No, not the microphone. No, be good, be good. No, hit. There we are. So I'm taking the primordial hand. Right now I've set up energy to keep working on what it was doing on the shield, and then it's in my chord area, fully erasing that chord. Good, and then I can see there's no attachment from the inside of the shield. I'm at the shield now, and just fully erasing the blue, and I've cleared it, and that's cleared. And then I just see, oh, there's a splotch of, it looks like a yellow pyramid. This is Egyptian energy, and the chord's gone. It's stopped trying to go where it was, and it's just gone straight in and attached through the pyramid energy. So right now, I won't worry about the chord, and I will continue going through the shield and clearing it. This is very, very common. That's why, I'm going through it with you. It's very, very rare for you to create a shield, and you may see that there's nothing wrong with it, but there usually is. Now, if you are seeing a shield and you go, hey, this looks pretty great, there's no problems here, take your primordial hand and give it the intention, go down the right side first, then the left, and just have it energetically hit the shield. Now, you won't be able to break your own shield with primordial energy, right? The positive energy does not harm positive energy. But if it's going through and it suddenly hits something, hits like grey alien energy, well, that was veiled and you just weren't seeing it. So take your primordial hand and clear that. It's going to be very, very rare for you to create a shield and there not be anything that's created any kind of hidden openings through it. I've just cleared that pyramid area and just severed the chord, and then it's and then it has disconnected and gone through another area, so I'll just ignore where it's gone for now and deal with this red area, which looks like demonic energy. Alright, hop down now. I'm just checking. I'm surprised. Nothing's going wrong today. Everything's actually going well. My audio, it's working. The video is working, no problem. This is going very smoothly. It's nice. Good. Demonic energy's cleared. The primordial hand, as I'm doing this, is still getting strengthened. So I've now just seen it become a denser version. It's got essentially gold, hardened, crystal type energy on top of it, which is just denser primordial energy. It's all perfectly normal. In front of me here, I can see what looks like essentially a black and grey slit. That is purgatory energy. No, ghost energy. That's ghost energy. So I'm clearing that, and as I'm clearing that, I can feel essentially a ghost slit in my stomach. So that's where the entry point is correlating to the energy body. But rather than going through the energy body and hunting for all these areas, it's usually easier to just focus on the shield and clear them that way, at least when working on shielding. That's cleared good. Can feel there's 2 more areas for now, and then another hidden area which I'll go through when I get to that. Over here in my energy field, top left, there is a large witch opening, a lot of yellow and pus type energy. It's very common for witch energy. And then as I'm clearing that, I can feel throbbing in my fingers. It's because the witch energy was concentrated in the fingers. Now, depending on where you're at energetically, you may hear the energy for more literally what it's saying. So it might be negative energy, which is just saying no, 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 or screaming in your head. Or it can just be a feeling. You're not able to yet hear the literal words, but you are just getting the sensation of anger or the sensation of fear. Often it may go anger and you're like, this is not affecting you. And then it will change emotion if it's got any kind of basic tactic programming. Good, the which one's cleared, and I just felt a pop in my jaw, skull bones here connected to my jaw, and then also, as I'm clearing that, my ears gotten blocked, which is perfectly normal as the energy is basically annoyed in your body as you're clearing it, and it's nearly popped. Good. One more that I can see, reptilian energy over here inside of the jaw and also connected to the right eye. It's perfectly normal. You may at this point just see them as a solid color. It's perfectly normal. Or you may just feel them as being cold. Again, if you're just clearing through feeling, that's also perfectly normal. It will usually get faster clear as your primordial hand gets stronger. Good, and that's completely cleared. Now I can feel my shield. I can spin it around. There's nothing that is physically different. This looks like primordial energy. My primordial layer, which was strengthening shield, just popped about 2 seconds ago, so I just re-put that up. And that was, the primordial skin. That's still strengthening the shield, so the shield has been getting more durable this entire time. Now I'm just going to take my primordial hand and start scanning through it. Going through the front first, nothing there. Right side, left side, nothing. And then back, and then right at behind the neck, there is a spot there. And that looks like purgatory energy, which was veiled very well. But if it's being hit by energy, it's not going to usually be able to keep itself concealed. So then I will just take my primordial hand and clear that. Often the things that are veiled will be more difficult to clear, as a lot of the negative energy works on the rule of concealing itself. So it's not accurate to think that something's that's weaker will hide itself. Usually the stronger things will just be much better at hiding themselves. Good, and that's fully cleared. Now, when somebody or a negative entity throws a curse at you or any kind of other negative energy attack, they usually won't just throw it and try and envelop your whole shield with it. That would be pretty dumb. What they usually do is they will shoot it, and that's normal. The camera does have a limit, so it's good, things are going well. Anyway, the curse will usually just try and dart its way in, or if it's a negative chord, it won't try and fill up your whole shield and destroy it. It may initially do that and go, all right, this isn't working, and then just try and find a weak point and then go in there. So if somebody were to throw a curse at you, they would throw it, and usually the way the matrix coding works is curses will show up as arrows. Even at like a really advanced level, it's all arrows for some reason. Now it'll be like a black arrow with lots of points sticking out of it and really dense negative energy, potentially a few different negative energy types, but it'll be an arrow. So they'll shoot the arrow and it will just, often, especially with primordial energy, the arrow won't come to you, and then if it's stronger than your shield, it won't just go through and pow, your shield breaks. No, it'll just dart through, often make a small hole, and if you've got a primordial skin that's regularly strengthening the shield, especially if you set it right, you can do this right now to regenerate any damage that the shield takes, unless it veils the damage, in which case your primordial skin won't be able to detect it. But if you're setting it to regenerate, then, and it doesn't veil its way in, then you'll just end up with the curse coming to you. So you've got your shield, curse comes, poof, it's broken in, and it's lodged in your chin, let's say, right? The best way to counteract that is, right now, you can either put up another primordial skin. I'm feeling right now this person can only take 3 maximum. So I'll leave 1 for the primordial hand, 1 for recharging, and 1 for the skin. So the skin I will now, not skin, shield. So for the shield, I will now set that primordial skin to focus on, let's just say, right in front of me. And it's going to start to create a hexagonal type shape that will be much denser than the rest of the shield. The goal of this is to create a part of the shield that will move around. And it's a good idea to usually have 2 or 3 of these. That way, and one side had this working for, let's say, 5 minutes. This is like, I'm cooking. I'm like, here's one I prepared earlier. No, I've not prepared one earlier. But I could fast forward this. Anyway, so once you've done that, you will then, all right, so I'll fast forward at 5 minutes now. All right, I've got a decent hexagonal shield. Okay, put it over here. And then a curse will come. Or let's say the curse comes from over here. The hexagonal shield is, I've programmed it. I've given it the intention to move and counteract any major attacks, right? It's supposed to move and counteract anything it detects. So it senses it, moves over there, and then the curse is coming, and I've given it the intention to just erase the curse. Later on, repelling things, we'll do that in another time, but right now, yeah, I'm feeling this person it would not be best to try and put in things that are like redirecting curses. Just, you'll set it to have it the intention to erase, so it's over there, the curse comes, and it doesn't get in. Whereas if you had let's say the total shield strength is at 7, right, it's going to be easier to have a smaller area, and its shield is set at, say, 20, right? And then if the curse is a 14, the 20's can handle it, whereas before it would have just come in through the shield. And that's the fundamentals of shielding. We will go through in other classes more. Also, with your shield, it's important, especially at this stage, it is set to work and shield you from the external world, not the internal world at this point, right? Meaning any negative energy you've accumulated inside is still there. Just because you've shielded yourself, that you're not suddenly completely clear. That's not how this works, unfortunately, or it would be a lot quicker. But you have shielded yourself from the external world. If now, with the shield, it is important to, I'm just going to focus on the overall shield and give it the intention to, yes, it's protecting me externally, but also anything that attacks the shield from inside, right? If you set the shield to just clear everything inside, it's gonna break, because it's gonna just hit everything straight away and not handle that. But set it to work on anything that comes up from the inside. That way, and it is fairly common that something will come up and try and break a hole in, and then a lot of stuff, especially if you're living somewhere like a haunted house, just pours in, and it's really annoying. So I've got that up. I'm just going to fast forward the, say, simulation I've got going. So, yeah, something comes up 2 hours later, it goes to hit the shield, the hexagonal moving shield that I've also put in there detects it, it moves from the outside into the inside and erases that. And it's taken a fair amount of damage, so now I will take the Primordial skin and plug it in there, and give it the intention to recharge it as well. Primordial skin just popped. Okay, put it back up and recharge it. Now, the way this world works is often you've got a working shield, great, and then you'll go to sleep, and then once you're no longer able to detect things because you're sleeping, then things are much more likely to target your shield. So it is very common that they will break parts of the shield, either externally or internally, as you've not built up that much strength yet. So the best way to really counter that is, once you've woken up, go make a primordial hand, and I'll just make it that this person's like slept and it's the next day. And to the right, yep, there's a purgatory way in there. So I've cleared that. Now, the shield, when I woke up, it looked perfect, but they veiled it, right? And then over here, praying mantis way in. And I'll set that to clear, good. And then as I go down, so there's about 23 different ways. And you say 23, well, that's much more than initially. And yes, because the negative entities before were just playing interference while you were making it. But now you've slept, right? It may have been 9, 10 hours. So they've had much longer to put that up. So it may take you, 20, 30 minutes. Now, as you get better at this, and as the negative entities realize that it's not worth the energy, it will become less of an occurrence. But the first few days in particular, keep checking. It's a good thing to just get into the habit of. So that's why it's very good to be able to clear energy and visualize, or at least feel energy, if you're not yet able to visualize with your eyes open, while you're doing other things. So you can get up and you can, do what you need to do and clear the various damage to your shield. So a lot of it just comes down to maintaining shield. As your shield gets stronger as well, as you have primordial skin working on it throughout the day, then it's going to take less damage. Overall, I'm just having a look. While there are quite a few veils and damage to the shield, it's not like there's a lot of damage to the person, because negative entities, at least in this situation, they're thinking more long-term, like we need to take most of our resources and hit the shield. So one of them has hit the shoulder a very small amount. Nothing else is actually bothered to hit the person because they want you to not have a shield. It's a really, really common tactic, because if you're shielded, makes it much harder for them in general and in the long term to attack you. Just thinking if there's anything else I have to talk about shielding, but I think I've pretty much covered everything. In the future, we'll go into more detail about shielding. If you're new to this, I'd recommend you just stick with the shielding technique for really 2 to 3 months. So if we're talking weeks, if you're really confident, give it 5-6 weeks minimum. If you're not that confident, give it really 8 to 10. And then if you're really, really not confident, give it 14. You don't need to move on from the shielding technique. Just do it when you intuitively feel you're ready. Good. All right. Have a good evening.